I was asked to speak on Palm Sunday, and I've never spoken in April. After 20 years of doing this, you'd think I would have at least spoken once in April, but I'm not. And I have never spoken on Palm Sunday. And one of the interesting parts of the process that I go through when I prepare for a talk is I go downstairs and I grab the concordance of all the things that good old Charles Fillmore has written, and I look things up. And I open it up to Palm Sunday, and there's one entry. It said, and I opened it up to it hoping to see something. It says Palm Sunday. And that was it. I panicked. What am I going to do? How could I possibly speak? I go, Palm Sunday. Thank you very much. And so I did the one thing that you must do anytime you get in trouble, call a friend. So I called Janine, and she talked to me through a little bit of this, and we had a couple questions. And and you're doing great. Only 20 more minutes. Anyway, I said, what am I going to do? So I started thinking about this, and I said, okay, what is one of the things you're good about, Roger? I am really, really good at asking questions. You can ask any teacher I ever had. Yeah. Whether it was math or science, whatever. I didn't understand it, I needed to know. So I called my friend, and then I realized there was one other person I could call. I could call the Google machine. The Google machine knows lots of things that I don't know. So I started looking up things, and all of a sudden, after writing the talk and things, I realized that what I'm going to tell you is a story. I'm going to tell you a story about Jerusalem, the people there, the city, the people in power, the priests and the Sadducees and the whatever they call it, Sadducees and Pharisees, thank you very much, and the people themselves, and then Christ and the Roman army. So there's a story there. And the first thing I asked Janine about was, well, wasn't Jerusalem a walled city? And she said, well, yes. So this is a picture of Jerusalem, and this is the wall all the way around it. Walls at that time were meant to keep people in and keep people, the people who were there in and the hordes of people coming to take their money and thieve from them out. It didn't work because the Roman army took over, but it's interesting that it was a walled city, so there's only one or two ways in or out of the city. And at this time, so I wondered how many people lived there. Someplace between 20 and 30,000 people lived in Jerusalem, in that little bitty area, 20 or 30,000 people. And at the time, the streets are very, very narrow. The buildings are almost all out of stone, and they're like brownstones. The outside wall is the inside wall of the next building, and the next building, and the next building. So it's all stone. So and the streets are stone. So you can imagine horses clopping down the street, whatever. It would be loud. There'd be lots of reflective noise. So that kind of gives the city an idea of what was going on. And then on top of it, it's Passover. Now, being a good Jewish person, I have no idea what Passover is about. In fact, I had no idea what they were celebrating. So what did I do? I Googled it. Who knows? I know Tom probably knows what they were celebrating. What were they celebrating, Tom?
The power for the Pharisees.
We're gonna get there. Thank you very much. But that whole thing had all that stuff. He is this man of great power. And as Tom just said, these chief priests and the Sadducees and these people were afraid of him. Why would they be afraid of him? They had no power like he had. How would, I thought about this, what if we're all downtown one day and somebody walks into St. Pat's or over at Community and they start walking through the hall and just blessing everything they saw. Middle of operations, the doctor looks down and said, "Oh my God, the tumor's gone." Somebody said, "Well, I'm going to fix his knee." No, his knee is already healed. What would those people start doing? What would we start doing? The guy walks in, let's go down to the park. Somebody's blessing people. And all of a sudden, he's blessing people and they are being healed. That idea in those people begins to become the Messiah, the deliverer from the tyranny of the Roman army. That is creating a great deal of angst. So he comes in to the city. And Janine pointed out to me that it says in the Bible that he came in riding on the back of a donkey, but that was a prophecy from the Old Testament that may or not be true. But it doesn't matter, because he entered into the city and the people were jubilant, just as the song said earlier in the service. Hosanna in the highest, great joy. Here is this deliverer of men. He's going to save us. He's going to heal our sick. He feeds people with 2 loaves and 5 fishes, or 5 fishes and 2 loaves. I don't know. He's done these great things. And the people in power, not only the Romans know about him, but so do the Sadducees. Then they're absolutely terrified of his power, because their God is a God of vengeance and punishment. And Christ is saying, no, that's not how it works. This is love, blessings, and grace. So he walks into the city. People know about all his healing. And even the story about the woman touching his garment and him stopping and say, who touched me? And he says, "Oh, you lady, well, you're healed. Your faith has healed you. Your faith has healed you." And so here we are. This man comes into the city, these narrow little streets. Probably, I bet they couldn't be more than 2 deep before that donkey and the procession come into that city. And what is every mother who has a sick child doing? They're pressing themselves forward. It does not say this in the Bible, but this is part of my story about this, is that they were trying to touch him. They were looking for a blessing. Every one of them. The lame were doing it. Every person who was sick, who knew of his coming, were coming not to be healed. And that was part of this incredible energy in this place. This Passover, this liberation day. And here is a man who can liberate us from our pain, from our suffering, and hopefully from the Roman army. Unfortunately, that was a mistake. Anyway, Christ is the last person in this story. What does Christ do? Jesus walks in and he knows what's going to happen. He knows what's going to happen. He knows for sure that he's going to be denied by his good friends and betrayed by them. He knows that the chief priests and the people in the church are going to set him up to be destroyed by the Romans. He knows that in the end, just in a couple days, the people will turn against him and say, "No, we want Barabbas. You can kill him." They chose Barabbas over their healer, because what they were looking for was a military leader, who would save them from the Romans instead of save them from their lives and show them what the return of love looked like, to use that term here for the Speakers Committee. So how could he do that? How could a man, knowing what the consequences of his behavior is going to be, no matter how powerful and good and wondrous they were, how could he go through with that? How could he step into that city knowing what was going to happen? And unfortunately, what would we see in this country if somebody came and did that thing? Would we expect them to deliver us from the whatever in the world? Or would we see them as the blessing of a spiritual gift that we all need so dearly? All of us need so dearly. I'm not so sure what we do. I know that if I were in that man's shoes, I would have stepped back and gone someplace else, because I'm not that brave. So Charles Fillmore gives us some kind of clue by why he could do that. And I want to read you just 3 little short things, but the first one is pretty powerful here. This is where Jesus differed from ordinary men. He knew he was the Son of God. He knew the power of the spiritual ideas to do mighty works. Jesus knew who he was. He knew that he was a divine child of a living God, created in the likeness and image of God, as we all are. The principles of this church, God is all good, present in everything, everywhere. I am naturally good because God's divinity is in me and in everyone. I create my life by what I choose to think, feel, and believe. Through affirmative prayer and meditation, I make conscious contact with the divine and bring out the good in my life. I do my best by living the truth I know. That last one is really, really important, because that makes you responsible for yourself and what you believe, not what I believe, not what Charles believes, not what the Catholic Church believes or the Baptist Church or any believes, not even what this church believes. It's what you believe. But Jesus understood who he was, and he walked in fully knowing what was going to happen. And that is that he is not the Son of God. He is the incarnation of God on earth, as we are. We are the love of God. We are the peace of God. We are the understanding of God. We are the grace of God. Every day, the grace of God. I love that word. I love the idea that there is nothing I can do to earn the love of God. It's there. It's a gift. The only thing you have to do, or I have to do, is take it up. It says, knock and the door shall be opened in the Bible. I think that's just backwards. Answer the door. Answer the door. The divine is knocking on our lives all the time. It is not something that you can knock and it shall be given to you, but that's not always true. It's always there. It's always, always there. And it is such a difficult job to pick it up. We've read this prosperity book for about 2 months now, 3 months? Something long. No. For the people who think that it was a dusty old book, It's a long read maybe, because we're reading each chapter. But the whole idea in it is that God's prosperity is here all the time. There are some simple things. Give, and you receive. Knock, and the door shall be open. All these things, whatever you do, it will be returned to you in whatever form. Here's the second thing I want to read to you from this book today. Whoever comes in daily contact with some, no, please forgive me. Whoever comes in daily contact with a higher order thinking cannot help but take some of it with them. His mind takes it in unconsciously, just as his lungs breathe in air. Ideas are catching. No man can live where true ideas are of wholeness and abundance and peace are being held without becoming more or less infected. More or less infected. That's why we come here. We come to get inoculated once again against the world. To find some way to keep coming up with these things. It's why it is so important that things change here. We've changed our prayer for protection, and we're taking more responsibility for that by when we say, we are the peace, we are the light, we are the love. That's taking responsibility for our own lives. Taking responsibility and taking the gift that is given to us. Being infected. I remember a long time ago, Bob and Joan were here with their two girls, and I was speaking, and I turned to her children after I had said something, and I said, know this, I have just planted the seed in your mind that you will never, ever be able to get rid of. Because it is there. How many times do we hear things before we actually start watering that thing and letting it grow inside of us? How long will it take before another man or woman steps into their full Christed self? And who is it going to be? It could be any one of us. Because it's there, it's ours to have. One more thing I'm going to read from this book. Whoever comes in daily contact, did I read that one already? Yeah, oh God. Okay. Maybe this is better order anyway. There is a way, the highway of the Lord. Will you take that way? Jesus called it the kingdom of heaven and said all these things should be added to those who sought it. All those who sought it. This implies that you do not have to fully enter into this kingdom in order to have the things added to you, but you do have to seek. It is the right order. You do have to seek. And we're all here because you're seekers. People show up in this church all the time and they look, oh, it feels like I'm home. How many of you heard that from people who have come into this building? Oh, this feels like home. They're seeking a place where the divine lives and is alive and well. And that might be different from anybody else. They may get up and leave. It doesn't matter. Those who come and feel at home, they know that we are trying to speak the truth and live in a way that the divine is brought forward into life. That's really important. I can't hang on to this. That is so important for us to know, that the seeking is the thing we need to do. We don't have to get it all right now. In the prosperity book, it says that if you give, you receive back more, piled up, turned over, by multiplied many times. But it's the seeking, it's the giving of your time, it's the giving of your tithe, it's the giving of the love you want and sharing it with others. It's knowing the truth of who you are and bringing that forward into life. So Christ did that on Palm Sunday. He entered in knowing that Easter was just a little ways away, that he was going to be betrayed and killed. He did it because he knew who he was, a divine child of God. The truth of God, the blessing of God, the peace of God, the love of God, the understanding of God, the grace of God. It is so true for us even today. You've all heard this before, and it's from Marianne Williamson's book, Return to Love. It's on page 167. I've never seen the book, but I do know it's from that page. She says this: our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. You were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. One of Jeff's favorite things, I think, is this: Christ, the hope of glory. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. Not in just some of us, it is in everyone. And as we let our light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. We infect them. I like that idea. Okay, let me finish. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. So that's my story about Palm Sunday. That there were a whole lot of things going on there. And all the actors played their part. And the part that Christ played was showing us who he truly was. A divine being, a child of God, no less than each and every one of us are. We are God incarnate on earth right now. The amount of love we show the rest of our community, the understanding, the compassion, the grace. I really hated it when my psychologist looked at me one time, so I had a really ugly experience with one of my very dearest friends. And he looked at me and said, "Oh, Roger, can you give him a little grace?" I might as well have swallowed a cantaloupe. I could not believe this guy who doesn't go to church looked at me and said, "Can you find some grace for this man you love, you supposedly love, in your heart?" No, it is not fair. So, what I want to leave you with is that you are divine children of God, each and every one of us. We are all filled with the possibility to be divine in every way we can be in the world. And the best part is you're already doing the best you can. Hopefully we evolve into this even more and more and more. But it's always there. It's always there. And I really do believe that it is more about answering the knock on the door than knocking on the door. So for just a few moments, let us get comfortable. We're going to do a little short meditation. I'll give you a guided meditation. And we'll conclude the service and go eat something. So if you can get comfortable, if you want to, close your eyes. Take a couple deep breaths. And out. And in. And out. And feel the people pressing in around you, for you're on the streets of Jerusalem. You can hear the hosannas. You can hear the excitement. For that man, that healer of all things, is going to pass by you. And hold in your mind that which needs to be healed in you. No matter how small or how big, doesn't matter. But it just gets louder and louder and louder until Jesus is right before you. And you reach out as far as you can. And even without touching the man or his cloak, you feel the grace of God enter into your being. And you are being healed. For you are a seeker. You are desiring to know who you truly are. Not the mother or father, son or daughter, or painter or teacher, or computer expert, engineer, or whatever. You are a divine child of God, above all other things. And the grace of God is always yours and mine. Just take another deep breath and come back into the room. And we can say our prayer of protection together. Together. The light of God surrounds us. We are the light. Love of God enfolds us. We are the love. Power of God protects us. We are the power. The presence of God watches over us. We are the presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. We